Hello, 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 good evening. Good times, happy times, whatever time it is, wherever you are. Welcome to our very special and rather scary, not because it's Halloween, but because it's all live now. So good evening to everyone. I'm joined, as always, by Mr. Alan Robinson.
How are you guys?
Mr. Chris Cutes.
Hey, how are you?
Jamie Whitaker. Joe Whitaker even.
You're right, guys.
That weird face just completely threw me then. But we've got our very own zombie apocalypse, Mr. Jamie Page.
How you doing?
Good stuff. So I believe everyone has actually brought with them some kind of guest. So who have we got on tonight with you, Alan?
Tonight I brought with me my very good friend, Mr. Rick Wilkie. Say hi, Rick.
Hey, everybody. How you doing? Thanks, Alan. I appreciate you asking.
Thanks for coming.
What about you, Chris?
Oh, all the way from California. My very good friend. Everybody say hello to Bill Luce. Bill, say hi.
Hi, Bill.
And here we go.
Yes, and we're off. So, Jamie, who did you bring with you, dare I ask?
I brought with me the Queen of Quebec, Pat Lap.
Hello.
Oh, God. And why did I bring him?
To be expected, I think, a little bit there. What about yourself, Joe?
And I've got my fellow Wolves supporter, the one and only Andy Berkey. Say hello, Andy.
Boom.
Go Wolves.
That's it.
Well, I unfortunately didn't actually bring a guest with me. I'm actually stuck in a service station car park somewhere on the M42. I've just driven from Devon, an hour and a half, got stuck in traffic. I'm supposed to be at home right now. It's all gone to a complete ball of chalk. So hopefully the rest of the show won't. But big welcome to everyone. And what is everyone up to? I've told my sad story for the evening. So, Chris, what are you going on at the moment?
Well, based on our last podcast, I put out that video about milling on lumber, and then I'm working on a video that's going to be coming out this coming week on how I'm going to take that lumber that I milled up myself and make a project out of it. So yeah, just kind of a putting my money where my mouth is kind of thing. Because I was talking pretty cocky last week, and so I figured I better show my backbone and actually do what I said you can do, and so that's what I'm doing.
Richard Morley just dropped out of chat because he is in a car park, unfortunately. So I'm just going to go ahead and take over. This weekend, I just started, I just finished my End Days series. It's the zombie apocalypse. More or less, it was like the zombie apocalypse happened outside my shop. They took the shop over. They killed me. I became a zombie. And at the end of this part that I just put up this morning, the zombie decided to build a shelf and then killed over dead himself for no reason, whatever. So, JP, what are you making?
What am I making? At the moment, right now, nothing. But I have just completed my Izzy Shrek Scroll Store project, which is there.
That's awesome, by the way.
That's on YouTube right now. So yeah, so that's it.
Very cool, Joe. What about you, buddy?
Well, I've done this week a tombstone project using some breeze blocks. Just carved them out because I'm actually really quite easy to do, and I put like a name and RIP on it. I went for Michael Hunt, so I got a few laughs with that one, so to speak. So yeah, that's just all I've been up to really.
Richard, you're back with us.
Yeah, you see the strange services of Worcestershire or whatever county I happen to be in here. So I'm not on an internet. I'm actually running over my phone. So expect me to be dropping in and out like something that drops in and out a lot. We are after 9 o'clock, aren't we? So where did you get to, mate?
We got to introducing everybody to what we're up to, and then now we want to talk to. I think we want to talk to our guests because we've got some pretty cool people in the room tonight.
I think that sounds like a good plan because obviously there are some good people in here that I'd like to speak to, and obviously it takes the pressure off me, which is cool. So what about you, Bill? What are you up to?
Oh man, what am I up to? Well, if you'll notice, I'm preparing for the Making It 100 thing in Boston, and I've got 30 days more to grow the hawk, just a little bit more. It's not quite there. I got to get it going on, but it's getting there.
Is this how DeResta first recognized you because you had a mohawk?
Not how he first recognized me. It was the second time I met him, last year's Maker Faire. We were running a little bit late. Jimmy and Dave and Bob were already on stage in this one of the buildings, and there happened to be the door to get into this building is right in the center, and it was double doors. So it was me and the group behind me because I was driving. So I think I had Berkey might have been with me, Wes Swain. Anyway, so all of us were going in. So I grabbed the doors. I kind of threw them open. So I'm assuming that the light behind me didn't allow Jimmy to see my face, but he's all, "Oh, there's Lutz. I can see his hair. I can't see his face." that was probably one of the, I mean, other than Mary and Casey, probably the highlight of my life. Yeah.
Are you going to shave the side bits?
I don't think so. I think maybe I don't know. My wife's a hairdresser, so I kind of say, "Honey, this is what I want to do," and then she says, "Okay," and then does what she wants.
Sounds like most partners, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, we'll see. But as far as what am I making? I'm making my hair, and I'm making I've been talking about it for a while, table that lights up because it used to be an industrial shop light, and now it's a bowl full of glass and resin.
So you are
It weighs
going
about
to
600 tons.
What?
It weighs about 600 tons, doesn't it?
It weighs a whole lot more than I thought it would. Yes, I'm guessing 30 to 40 pounds.
Ouch.
Yeah.
That's a
Or wait, how many kilograms is that?
lots.
25 stone.
Wait, no, you guys just taught me this. I'm saying it's a little less than 3 stone.
Yeah, that's about right.
Ah! Okay, I'm done for the night. I just figured out a math thing.
So you are gonna light this thing? Are you gonna light it from underneath?
Yeah, so the actual lighting element itself took a big I don't know, which is like a regular light bulb base, but the real large size, and it was like a metal halide. So instead of that, I bought a insert that goes in there that brings it down to a medium-sized base, so I can put a regular LED light bulb in it. So it'll look from underneath this table, it will look like you see this industrial light. And it's got this weird cord, like a curly Q cord hanging out. Plug it in, and it actually, this whole table will just light up from the top. And you can set things on it. And the neat part is I added some glow-in-the-dark stones in it with it as well. So when you unplug it, it will still have a weird green glow to it. It's kind of neat.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, Bill, since you're my guest, I guess I have to ask you the questions briefly, if it's possible. Give the people who may not be familiar with you, because Bill Lutz is a killer guy, and if you're not familiar with him, you should become familiar with him. But if you can briefly tell us about your story. When did you start making stuff, and how'd you get from that point to where you are today? And it was kind of, if you can briefly fill us in on who and what you're all about.
Well, it was a foggy night on I believe it was in July.
I was waiting for you to say I was born a poor black child. Go from there.
No. It wasn't like that at all. My mom had been drinking. She met this guy. No. When I first started making, probably 6 years old, I really made my first project, and it was a Mother's Day gift. It was a picture of me from like 10th. Hold on. You'll love this. Hold on. No. Don't go away. I'll make it brief. There we go.
You got to love Lutz.
The very first thing I ever made right there. And
wow,
it's
that's
been
pretty cool.
downhill ever since. Aren't I cute though? Look how freaking cute I am.
You're gorgeous. What happened?
You've got way more hair.
Every job I've ever had, I've had to use my hands to make a living, and making is a part of my life. And now it's just an amazing hobby I get to play with. And that's the short of it. I love to make. And I've made the best thing I have made since finding this community is a bunch of friends, including all of you. And That's the truth of it without screwing around.
No, agree, 100%. And if the applause button was here, I'd hit it. So yeah, absolutely. All right, Richard, back to you. Throw it to somebody else, because I mean, if we
Cool.
don't, then Bill's going to keep talking, and that we just can't have that.
Well, I really want to hear from Mr. Wilkie over there. I'm quite interested to know about his story, how he got on the scene, what he's up to, and everything like that. So, what's going on over in your part of the world, mate?
Thanks, Richard. God, I mean, my grandfather, I guess it all starts with him. He was a farm kid out of Iowa, and he basically made out of necessity. They didn't have any other option. It was Depression era, World War II, the whole 9 yards. I grew up right next door to him. He owned the house that we lived in, and I ultimately grew up in. And I learned everything from him. I also learned that it's easier to say, look what I made, and it's more acceptable in his world to say, look what I made, rather than, oh, look what I ran out and bought, you know? And he's always in the back of my head when I'm making something. Will this live up to my grandfather's standards? Am I thinking outside of the box enough to come up with a solution to fix things like he would, you know? I look around my shop and I try to make things from what I have, rather than run out to the store and just grab what I think I need. And if I have too much, I leave it alone. So one of the greatest compliments I think I've had is actually from my dad, who couldn't make a cup of tea, to be honest with you. He looked around the shop and he says, man, your grandfather would be really jealous of this. And that kind of really hit home. So I'm pretty much the newest out of all of you folks. I'm pretty much the newest one on the block. I only started this 3 months ago, and it's been a fun ride. And
That's awesome.
As Bill said, go ahead.
Sorry, Rick. What did I catch? I caught up with you about two months ago or so.
Yeah.
I don't even know why. We just started talking one day.
Yeah.
I just thought your enthusiasm was amazing. You're just, the first guy in the pool kind of guy. Like, you're so willing to help out the community. But what I was just wondering was, you talk about your grandfathers. This making for you, this goes back to when you were a kid?
Oh, very much so. Yeah. We were big time hunters, and my grandfather loved to make goose blinds, and they were literally 4x4 sheds with roofs that came apart. The guy had absolutely no training, taught himself how to read, and he could build these incredible mechanical things that I had to figure out how to make them work. He wouldn't tell me, so he said, go in there and learn. And that's pretty much where it started, So yeah, he was a big influence, and I certainly miss him. We lost him in '97. And I've been trying to make up for that every day since. So,
yeah, I can directly relate to that, your grandfather's story, because my father said to me within the last 4 or 5 months, I can't remember the setting of the conversation, but he said exactly that. Your grandfather would be proud of this, and I was like, well, not only is that an awesome compliment coming from my father, but to think that my grandfather would be proud, it really makes it kind of real warm, fuzzy feeling. So I know exactly what you mean there.
Definitely makes it all worth it. So,
for sure.
And then I try to teach too. I mean, there's not a weekend that goes by I don't have 4 or 5 kids hanging out in the shop and teaching them how to make this, how to do that, and that would be also something he would do too. So, anyway,
pass
that's
the
me.
interest and the skill along. That's definitely a good thing.
Yeah, as much as one can anyway.
Sorry?
As much as one can anyway.
Well, you can't pass on what you don't have or know.
That's true.
So what are you working on currently?
Well, I wrapped up the trebuchet video. I've got to get the last one out. I kind of took the last 2 weeks to try to reconvene with my family. I've kind of ditched them over the past couple of months, and I thought, well, probably it'd be a good thing to keep them around. So this next weekend, I'll be throwing the finalized video on that. Alan got me thinking when he was doing his video on the zombie apocalypse thing that I could probably start doing things a lot better on my end. So I'm actually trying to do a full length horror kind of thing in the background, as well as do everything else that I do in a 40-hour week at work. But next up, I will have a telescope, a radio telescope, basically built out of built out of an old DirecTV satellite dish. And on top of that, I'll be building out a new tripod for the telescope I got from my father. So trying to throw more of my family and more of myself into this stuff.
Cool.
That's is that just a tripod that you sort of point and shoot, or is it one of these really awesome cool ones that's got GPS and it automatically tracks to a particular place? Or
No, it's all me. So I've got, yeah, it's an equatorial mount, but I need new legs on it because the one that came with it was just horrible. And then I'm hoping at one point or another I can incorporate what I see through the telescope in one screen and what the radio telescope is picking up on the other screen, put that on a video and do a voice over that and get all the build in there and all that other good stuff too.
Yeah, that'd be really interesting. I'll keep an eye out for that one.
Thank you.
A friend of the family's all into astrology, and he's got like half a dozen telescopes that he sets up in the back garden, and they just like they're like, like missile tracking things as they zoom
Right.
So it's pretty cool, fantastic. So I think we've got a couple of other new people here that I'm quite keen to chat to and find out a little bit more. And I think I'm torn. It's kind of a flip of a coin because I don't know a huge amount about Pat. So Pat, what are you up to? What is? I'm scared to ask. What is that mask you're wearing all around?
Oh, it's just a
That's
weird
it, Jackman.
No, it's my Jimmy Page costume.
I have to confess that is probably the scariest Halloween costume I've ever seen. It certainly made me jump. So what's your story then, Pat? How did you kind of get into all of this and start doing what you do?
I started making things with my grandfather too. So I actually worked there for 15 years. We was building furnitures in a house. Can I remove that?
Please do.
Okay.
Please do.
So yeah, I was working with my grandfather for 15 years. Then I went to do university in communication to work in a TV production company.
All right.
Then I started wood turning. I fell in love with wood turning because of Carl Jacobson. So yeah, now I'm a wood turner for 3 years.
That's what I saw your video where you put the little lathe in the cupboard.
Yeah.
And it sounds really bizarre, but I can directly relate to that because I don't know if you've seen the first ever video I put out on my channel was like a really bad shop tour of my turning room that I used my phone and I had it the wrong way up, so the picture's tiny anyway. But that room is literally 5 feet by 5 feet.
Yeah, mine is smaller than that.
That's insane. I mean, does it not? It scares the hell out of me. But do you not get a little bit concerned if something comes off that lathe? The only place it can go is straight at your face.
I know it is. Yeah, but that's the game.
It's fine. Don't worry about that.
But it has me
So
because
how are you getting on with that little cupboard?
I'm sorry?
How are you actually working with that cupboard? Does it work? Is it?
Yeah, I actually put two videos online. One was yesterday with how to make how to turn a little pumpkin with a Jimmy Page mask. Don't know if you saw that.
I haven't seen anything. I've been since Friday morning. I've been in deepest, darkest Devon, where they mine treacle, literally. It's a very strange place. It's right out in the middle of nowhere, so we've barely had electricity, let alone internet, to do anything. So.
So well, it's not the best shop, but as my real shop is 2 hours away from here, I mean, it works for me. I can turn pens and little things like that, and I love it.
You can still occupy yourself. You've got a short time.
Sorry, what?
So you can still make things even though you've got only a little bit of time. You haven't got to worry about driving 2 hours and
yeah, exactly.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, Pat, you said your shop is 2 hours away. Is that at your grandparents' house? I think I remember you saying something about that.
Yeah, exactly. My shop is in my grandfather's basement. Yeah, because he have all the tools, so I can work there. I mean, here in Montreal, I have place just for the mini lathe you saw. I can install a table saw in my living room. So
well, you know what?
Not go down so well.
Well, you turn a pumpkin pretty low on that little. For anybody who hasn't seen it, go look at Pat Lapp's last video. He turned a pumpkin wearing Jamie Page's head, which was hilarious, by the way, Pat.
I'm still cleaning it right now.
What, my head?
Yeah.
Right, and I know I don't like to point out that is sort of last on the list. That's not by intention. Somebody had.
But he is last.
Yeah, bless him. Come on, Andy. You tell us all about yourself, mate.
That's about all there is to say right there. What you just summed it up pretty well.
Last on the list.
Back to Bill then.
So 407 years ago, the founding father.
Oh, come on. Andy probably has a better story to tell than every single one of us sitting in this room right now. What's going on, Andy?
Definitely.
I suspect so.
Hey, just thanks for having me. It's always good fun to hang out with you guys. And, I've been good for a profession now for 33 years. And it's nice to be embraced by this community like mad. I was always kind of between trade and art. Neither one of those groups like me, and still don't, so that's cool. But the maker community has just totally embraced me, and that's just this has been an absolute renaissance in my own mind the last couple of years hanging out with you fellas.
So you've been 33 years in the trade.
Hi, Captain.
So where did you start? 33 years ago. How did you get into it?
Like a tough man guy. I didn't want to go. I thought not very cool to go work in an office or something because I wanted to be, like a He-Man. And the carpenters were the guys that I, in my own mind, saw as He-Men. So unfortunately, I'm not a He-Man, but I've had good fun with it. Good to me. It's been very portable, and I've been blessed to be able to travel around the world and do some things as well as the U.S. too. So it's good fun.
Well, Andy, I just wanted to prove to you that we're all very supportive of you.
And thank you, Chris. That's brilliant.
Can I just ask, Andy, how did Seymour Make Better come about?
Seymour Make Better.
Yeah.
This is Seymour Make Better is this little emblem right here. This was actually in kind of a dark time for me 3 or 4 years ago. I painted him on a canvas, and the weirdest thing, I've never had a logo that I've been happy with. And Wes Swain happened to be on a video chat or something, and he said, "Hey, what's that wall?" Showed it to him, and he said, "Send me a picture." So he turned him into form, and then actually Paul Mayette, a great maker that's on YouTube, actually named him that this was if you see more, you make better. So this guy's name is Seymour Make Better.
That's really cool. I really like that. The whole idea and the concept around that is fantastic. But can you explain to me and anyone that doesn't know the origin of the Blaine Berkey thing?
Well, it's kind of the same thing. I believe David Lockard came up with it, a guy that a lot of us are familiar with. It's I take time every morning to walk my dog right around sunrise. I call it the magic hour. About a half an hour before sunrise and about a half hour after, where the day kind of itself. And I take a lot of pictures of that, trying to capture not the physical objects in front of me, but the essence of what's happening, the rebirthing of the day. And so Blaine Berkey is sort of an encouragement for people to have an excuse to whip out that, you know, high resolution camera we all have in pockets now, and focus on something that is, you know, focusing. Observation is the very beginning of making, in my opinion. If you observe more, you will start to make better, I believe. So that's kind of the.
Andy, that really took hold too, because and I think it was just a simple concept that you said, that basically if you stop and look, even at just, I don't care if it's the minutia that nature gives you, it will make your creative mind kind of move in a direction that it ordinarily wouldn't have. And now, how did that actually start? Did that start on the Facebook group, or did that start elsewhere? I mean, I kind of know the backstory to this, but I'm not really sure how it grew to be what is now. You actually have a webpage, right? You have Blaine Berkey. Blaine Berkey is a webpage. What, somebody picked it up and bought the URL for you, and you now have a webpage for it.
Yeah, during the live broadcast, I think Maritime Swain, by the end of the broadcast, he had purchased the website and said, "Here, you know, take it." And so yeah, I did start in the Facebook group, and you know, it's just kind of, for me, it's very gratifying to you know, wake up to my feed and somebody in France or, you know, England has already, you know, seen something that they want to hashtag Blaine Berkey, and it's kind of a nice encouragement that you know, we're all seeing this stuff. And Lutz works the early morning at the airport there, and he always is capturing, you know, nice cloud formations and sunrises, and good fun.
It's funny. Well, it's kind of funny that it's called Blaine Berkey, but every time somebody hashtags something Blaine Berkey, it's always beautiful.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, what are we blaming this guy for? That's freaking gorgeous.
Well, my wife actually blames Berkey too in the morning, but usually I'm in the bathroom when she does.
Is she the one who enters the bathroom after you leave it? Is that what the problem is?
Kinda.
Lutz is back.
It's so nice to see something so very simple like that Blaine Berkey hashtag just completely take hold in the way it's done. Do you know what I mean? It's so simple, but it's so powerful at the same time, and obviously it's spread like wildfire, which is absolutely awesome.
It's crazy. To me, that's, in an essence, that's the power of the internet, you know, and especially of the maker community is, you know, those concepts, very, very simple, can just take on, and they grow to be bigger than you could have even imagined.
I mean, yeah, it's like its own form of viralness, if that's even a word. It's pretty cool. It's a bit like the Go Lutz.
A bit like.
Totally. It's totally like the Go Lutz. That was brilliant.
That was brilliant. And that was something that Andy, I believe Izzy Swan came up with. Am I wrong?
Yeah.
It was because we love, I mean, we love Bill. You know, I'm going to say this to Bill, and it's going to be the one and only time I do say it. Bill is the only person in this whole entire community that allows me to pick on him and get away with it. Nobody else will, because everybody else always tells me to make a cutting board or go do something else. And Bill is actually gracious enough to allow me to pick on him. And so, Bill, I love you, man. And
Chris, honestly, this is like well, let's see. There, I gotta say nice stuff too, Chris Cute.
No, you don't. No, you don't. No, you don't.
I'm reading my notes.
You never do anyway. Go ahead.
No, I'm reading my notes. No, honestly, you guys, this is full circle. It's full circle because Chris was the first guy to get me on the Maritime Maker Show, and since then, my silliness has gotten to be a little more well known, and I love you for that, and I love you for noticing what I do. So
no, you're more than welcome. I mean, come on, you needed to be known. It would have happened whether I helped you out or not. That doesn't really matter. But if I can take 2 seconds and thank, because Bill's a great guy, but he actually was Alan's guest tonight. Alan let me borrow him because Alan had 2 guests tonight. But my guest was able to make it because he had some issues with the family. But if we could all give a big thank you to Jason McGinn, who helped us get on the air tonight. Because if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here this evening. So, Jason, we miss you, and he has said he's going to try to get in here and meet us maybe halfway through the show, but he was unable to make it tonight so far. He may show up later, but we'll find out later. But Jason, I just want to say props to you, buddy. Thank you very much. I appreciate the help.
That is
thanks a
great.
lot, Jason.
Without Jason, this wouldn't even happen. We already had a series of mini disasters going on before going into this live. We wouldn't even know where the live button was without Jason.
But it's plenty of time yet.
known fact. I was gonna say real quick, guys. Little known fact about Jason McGinn. I've had 3 occurring dream fantasies, usually at night. One of them involves it's just one of them involves like an unlimited amount of money to build the shop that I want. The other one involves a 1967 AC Shelby Cobra, and the other one involved, and this has just been lately, is Jason McGinn in a bikini, and I don't know why, but
Oh my God!
I can make that a reality if you want, Bill.
oh, that's true. I forgot.
Anybody can do that.
No.
Jamie
It's
could do
coming.
that. But I want to pay homage to 2 of our special guests that we have here tonight, because this is what's so cool about the whole maker community is nobody's in competition with each other, and we love each other's work and what they do. So I want to give a special salute to Bill, who's here representing the Reclaimed Audio podcast. Bill, you guys do a fantastic job with that podcast.
I love it.
Congratulations.
Absolutely love it.
You and Tim Sway and Phil Pinsky, what a great podcast. Seriously.
Without that podcast, I'd never take a bath without bubbles and candles.
And and the other podcast that I absolutely love is Andy Berkey is on the Faking It podcast with David Welder, Andrew Aragon, Rod Reyes, and David Welder. And Andy, I don't know when your next episode is coming out, but I'm looking forward to it, man, because I love that podcast.
Yeah, big fan of that one too.
You can say something, Andy, unless you're stuck. I think he's stuck.
I think he's frozen.
Yeah,
or
it's
in
frozen.
shock.
But
Taking
yeah,
a
nothing,
compliment.
nothing but love
Shocked
for
that
all
somebody
these
likes
guys.
his podcast.
So when Bill decides to sit back down, we'll ask him to talk to us about the genesis of the Reclaimed Audio podcast, because I know that he was brought in. Look at that. There he is. That's my boy. You were actually brought into that because I think Phil Pinsky actually contacted Tim Sway first, and Phil asked Tim, who should we get? And Phil and Tim went, oh, we got to get Lutz. We got to get Lutz. So
I got to tell you, it's I went from seriously being a fanboy at Maker Faire, meeting Jimmy, Dave, and Bob, and Steve Ramsey, and a bunch of hosts, Kyle Toth, and not that much longer after that, I'm on a podcast with one of my other heroes, which is Tim Sway, and yeah, that's how that started. And what do you say? What do you say to something like that? Being a fanboy, and now I'm on a podcast. I have no idea how that happened.
Tim is an awesome guy too, by the way. And but Andy, before you got froze up, I was talking about the Faking It podcast and what a great podcast that is as well. Talk to me about that. How'd that whole thing come about?
That really, Andrew Aragon gave me a call and just asked if I'd be interested in doing it. And at that point, I had not listened to a single podcast episode in my life. Kind of like Lutz. It's like, well, sure, I don't know what that is. That's cool. I'm in. And he asked me who he already had Mike Laffey on board and Rod Reyes. And he said, is there anybody you think we should have on there? And without hesitation, I said Welder. And which is great. It's an amazing mind to try to keep up with. And we've been on a bit of a hiatus because that especially the mind is going about 3,000 different places, as well as everything that's going on. So we've had a little bit of a hiatus, but we're hoping to be back hot, here pretty quick.
Well, you guys rock. I mean, both of your podcasts, both Reclaimed Audio and Faking It, have set a pretty high bar that Richard Allen, Joe, Jamie, and myself, we're going to try to get there someday. It may not happen tomorrow, but I just wanted to give the love to the fellow guys that are out there, because you guys absolutely rock. I look forward to every single one of you.
Yeah, love it.
You guys are a direct inspiration for our podcast.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you so much. But don't let Chris fool you, because Andy and I were having a bidding war of trying to get Chris on our podcast, and he told us both we can just screw off. He's like, no, screw you guys. You're not good enough. I'll get my own thing.
Totally
I
happened.
don't need you. Yeah.
The Makers International.
Yeah, right.
The Makers International podcast was originally my idea, and Chris, I had booked out from the go. Nobody else can have him. He's mine. He's my boyfriend.
And I'm also 6'1", and I sing soprano. So if you believe that, I think I believe that. Hey, well, let's move into our main topic. I mean, Jamie, I think we'll probably we're about 35 minutes into this.
Yeah, we're 35 minutes in.
Hey, look at that. All right. So, Joe, you wanted to talk about, because since it's Halloween, and we're trying to keep this kind of a Halloween, because you can see my buddy Gus the Ghoul is hanging out back here. We're doing a kind of a Halloween thing. So, Joe, if you've got a topic that you want to bring up and have everybody talk about, let's do it. We have to unmute yourself, my friend, because I can't hear you. No, he's dead.
Well, I'll go ahead and do it. We wanted to do shop horror stories, and that doesn't necessarily mean paranormal. I've never had anything paranormal happen to me in my shop, but I do have somewhat of a story, something that did literally horrify me, just the feeling of it. I've always been very safe in the shop. I followed all the rules. I never made a big deal of that. I don't put it out on my channel, you know, big safety tips across by any means, but I was working on the table saw one day. And again, I was following all the rules just like I should be. My left leg just gave out on me suddenly out of nowhere. I felt a twitch go from my hip all the way down to my toe. My left leg just couldn't hold weight suddenly. And my right hand went flying across my blade. And it just barely nicked me. It wasn't a big deal. I just took a few Band-Aids on each finger, but I almost lost all four of my fingers, or three of my four main fingers here. But the feeling that absolutely horrified me was the thought that even though I follow all the rules, I can still lose a hand in here at any time. Anybody have any stories like that?
Richard?
Well, I'll jump in before someone just tried to call my phone. It cut everything off, and then that's a horror story in its own right. But before someone tries to call me again, it was about 3 years ago, I guess, and I was making a garden bench, I think, for somebody, and I was cutting the mortises in the legs with a router, because, you know, that's what I use. So I've got a 1/2-inch diameter cutter, which is 2.5 inches long, plus the shank. The whole cutter is about 4 and a bit inches long. This is a pretty big cutter. It's spinning around, 28,000 times a minute. And for some reason, the idiot operator, Muggins here, hadn't tightened up the collet at all. So I tightened it up finger tight so the cutter wasn't sliding around in the cutter, and I started to notice the mortises were getting slightly deeper each time than they should have been. And I was thinking, why the hell is it doing this? Nothing's changed. It is. And as I brought the router up, the cutter detached from the shank, went flying out of the router, and landed about 2 feet in front of me, heading away from me. It bounced on the wall and side of the house, which is just between the playroom window and the back door, came flying back towards me and landed at my feet. So I changed my trousers fairly quickly, had a little word with myself. I tell you what, I've never been and felt so stupid and been so scared for that split second, thinking I'd see this cutter flying away from me and thought, wow, that was lucky. That so could have come and hit me. And then only to see it come bouncing back towards me. I've never been so frightened in all my life. And it goes back to what's, you know, spoken about a lot. You know, you've got to pay attention to what's going on around you and be really conscious of what you're doing. It only takes a split second to be distracted and not do something vital. There is another one which is also router related, but I'll let somebody else dive in because I don't want to hog the time and I'll probably end up getting cut off. So has anyone else got any barking mad stories that they confess or own up to?
I bet you. Yeah, I bet you either Andy, you've had too many years that not to have had at least one or two.
Yeah, I've got a couple. I had one. It was you know, in my world, I'm part in the shop and part on site, and I was on site, and I saw a guy who was there working. It was hot, and he was resting a tool gun on his foot, and I said, you know what, man, I don't dig that. Don't have a go at that. It's bad news. And yeah, okay. Long and short of it is the trigger about a half an hour later and shot his foot to the floor. And so it buried itself in his boot far enough where we couldn't pry it out. So I had to go underneath the house, crawl underneath, and pound the nail back up through his foot.
Oh, that makes me cringe.
Oh,
We called him Spinny from then on, because all he could do was spin.
Oh, God.
The other
somebody
one,
sawed out a massive footprint shape in the floor and sent it to an ambulance.
yeah, he soaked his foot in Epsom salt and was back to work the next day. So I give him props.
Good
The other
job.
one was a guy was up on an extension ladder, and all of a sudden I heard a bunch of yelling, and I ran out, and he had gotten his long hair caught in this 1/2-inch drill, and it had taken the back of his head and him right up inside the eave where he was working. So I had to crawl up a 32-foot extension ladder and literally crawl up his back and take my razor knife out and cut out of the drill.
Oh.
So that one to me was a massive reminder that long hair and drills do not mesh very well.
Oh.
Good Lord. Good Lord.
Well, we all know that Pat Lapp's got a few fails in his shop. He's got a playlist on his video full of them. So,
Yeah.
what's some of yours, Pat?
I actually lose something on the table saw last week, and put it on a pair of glasses to make my Halloween costume.
How tall are you, Pat?
6.
And there was me thinking that was just a reminder of how you felt at the time.
Sorry, with what?
Richard said he was just thinking that's how it was a reminder of how you felt at the time.
He said baguette.
Okay, right.
Well, Rick, what about you? You're new to the game, but I mean, have you had any scary moments yet, or are you still waiting for those to come?
Oh God, no, I've had them. Now I sit at a desk and just get fat. But 20 years ago, I was out in the field doing cable installs. I went from cable installs to HVAC installs. Now in HVAC, heating, vacuum, or heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, you're working with sheet metal and screws all day long. I was reaching inside this piece of duct, and we're using 1/4-inch zip screws. And I mean, you're just going because we're contractors, and the faster you get it done, the more money you can make. So I'm just zip, just going nuts. Like Andy's buddy, wham, right into the middle of the finger. Now you can't just, pull out and, oh, damn, that sucks, and go back to work. You literally have to back that screw out and then pull the metal out and everything else. Yeah. Oh, it's horrible, man. It's horrible. I mean, I did it more than once. I wish I could say that was less than that, but I got scars everywhere from that. The best one though, and I don't know if you can see it anymore. Let's see here, right here. Yeah, maybe not. Anyway, I got one from here to here, and it goes across 2 veins. I was reaching up trying to hang this piece of duct, and it slipped. And when you're not cutting metal properly, you get what are called meat hooks, and they literally are like fish hooks, right? So I slip out, and I'm trying to control this 6-foot piece of duct, 35 inches by 8 inches deep, and this hook just grabs a hold of my skin and just literally tore from here to here. I ran out to the truck and grabbed my baby sewing kit, sewed that sucker up, put some napkins and some duct tape on it, and went back to work. This plumber is convinced that I'm going to die because I got this trail of blood running all the way down my arm and stuff. So, yeah, it's just horrible stuff. I've had kickbacks in the shop now. My wife has seen kickbacks. I mean, it's scary. Like Richard said, you definitely have a deep dry cleaning bill at some of those. You know what I mean?
Well, happy Halloween, everybody.
I know,
That's
right?
Yeah.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Take your time.
Luckily, yeah, no, I do now. But I mean, well, it's like, you were saying, you do every single thing right, and you can still have something go south on you.
It can happen, yeah.
I
All
tell
right,
my
what about
wife
you guys?
constantly.
What about you? What about you? We got Jamie and Joe, and I guess me left. I don't really want to talk about this, but Jamie, any problems with you?
Yeah, I've had a nasty splinter from a broom handle once.
What about that knife through your head? That seems like a problem.
Yeah, that's quite a bad one, but no, that actually comes off.
And Joe, what about you, buddy?
Well, hopefully you can hear me now. Can you hear me okay?
Oh
yeah, we're good.
Yes,
the accent's a bit weird. I'm struggling.
I'll try and speak as slow and as clear as I can, right?
All right.
Well, I came up with this topic because I wanted to hear some proper accidents, because the way that I always hurt myself in my workshop is always the stupid things, like I'll hit my leg on the side of my workbench and stuff like that. But the worst thing that's actually happened to me, I've done a video recently demonstrating using super glue and wood glue together, and I needed to break it apart to show just how strong it was. So I'm leaning over the front of my camera and I've got both my hands in front and I'm there getting it all I got to pull it, and it wasn't going. So I get it a bit of a twist, went to pull with all my strength again, and it just gave way, and I scraped all my arms along the wood on my workbench. At first I thought not a big deal, till I look, and I've literally got friction burns along my wrists. Now, it hurt, don't get me wrong, and it did blister a little bit, but the worst thing was trying to explain how you got friction burns on your wrists. And having matching ones on my knees as well, that didn't help things. So I needed to listen to some proper accidents, what everybody else has got themselves into, just to make myself feel a bit better, I think.
Well, I got a couple. I got to admit, over the years, I've been playing with tools for a long time, and I talked about this one a while back. But building out my wife's salon, I was trying to we just had no money, so I'm trying to recycle and reclaim and reuse as much as possible. So I found an old shipping crate, and most of us know that shipping crates are plywood with small boards stapled to the ends of it. So I'm really just wanting to get at this plywood, and I thought I got most of the nails out. So I'm out in front of my house. I've got a portable table saw, like a Craftsman, porta job thing, and I'm going along, and I felt something hit my face, and I'm like, and I have my gloves on, and I reach up and touch my face with my gloves. I look at my gloves. There's no blood on it. I'm like, it might have been a knot or something. I don't know. So I just kept going. 20 minutes later, I'm done. I'm carrying this wood back into the garage, and as I pass a mirror, I notice that there's a nail sticking out of my face. And so, of course, I had to run the house and tell Casey, honey, you got to check this out. This is so cool. Take a picture of it. Let's see if I can get a close up here.
I've seen that picture.
I remember that now.
Yeah. So that's one of the more recent ones. And you guys are talking about like out on the job site. I work for an airport. I'm the maintenance supervisor at an airport, and we have a lot of construction going on. And recently, you talk about technology being a distraction in a car. When people are on their phone, they should be driving. So I'm standing about 20 feet away. This guy's got a Bobcat. Have you ever seen a trencher attachment on a Bobcat? It looks like a giant, like a chainsaw blade, and it just at an angle, and it just spins and spins and spins, and it's digging this trench. So I'm kind of just watching. I'm a good 20 feet away, and what's going on? Somehow or another, he picked up an underground, some old. I assume it's like old, like AT&T cable type stuff, like what they used to run computer lines with to feed buildings or whatever. So as I'm watching this thing, in a split second, up out of the ground, like the movie Tremors, right? I see this thing whipping up out of the ground. It wraps around my freaking foot. And I'm trying to yell and scream at this guy like, hey, this thing's got me. And he's on his phone. And there's loud, there's noises. I'm screaming. I'm on the ground now. I'm being dragged slowly to this trencher, to this chainsaw looking thing. I'm just being grabbed. And I'm being dragged across the ground. and it's going on and on. The guy's on his phone. I'm screaming and yelling. I can now see from behind me, and they're not going to get there in time, but there's many people that are running. They're running as fast as they can because this thing is pulling my leg. This thing is pulling my leg about as bad as I'm pulling all of your legs right now. And it was just,
Oh God. No.
I hate
Come
you.
on, Lutz.
I don't like you anymore. Oh my God.
Bill, come on, you had us all there.
Oh man,
Lady-
you had it.
I do not like that man.
I don't like him either.
It was like a scene with James Bond.
You are horrible.
happy Halloween, boys.
Thank you, man.
Ladies and gentlemen, William Lutz.
Bill Lutz, everybody.
A round of applause. A round of applause for that imagination. I gotta give him love for that. I gotta give him love for that.
Thank you,
There
William.
you go.
Coming to a cinema near you.
Stop it. Stop it.
Richard, back to you, mate.
So I was going to say, Chris, I mean, I have got one more that happened to me yesterday. But what was your one?
Oh, well, I don't know how long we're going to carry on with this. I mean, we've got to be mindful of the time. So maybe I've never had an accident. Go ahead, Richard.
Okay. Well, I say the reason I'm stuck in this this service station car park is because I've been down in Devon and I was demonstrating at a show in front of the public, and just random people going past and sticking their noses in and wanting to know what was going on and all the rest of it. And I was doing profile and scribe joints to do panel doors and demonstrating a router table and all the rest of it. And I had all my feather boards in place and everything was double checked. I triple checked the collet was done up nice and tight and nothing was going to happen and all the rest of it. And I turned my back to answer a question from somebody, and someone was fidgeting or had fidgeted. I didn't find this out until afterwards, with the retaining nuts for the split fence on the router table.
Oh, nice.
And so I'm pushing this piece of timber through, and I cut the scribes, and I then go on and I'm cutting the profiles. What happened was, as the table's vibrating ever so slightly, the split fence is vibrating in towards the cutter, which it's no big deal. It's just a piece of MDF that's going to get cut by the cutter anyway. But what it did is it caused the feather board, the little fingers when they're under tension.
Mm-hmm.
The fingers slipped, or one of the fingers slipped off the end and was pushed into the cutter. So there's this almighty bang, like the fuse box had just blown. Everyone looks at me. I managed to just hold it together because nothing has exploded in my face. It's just this loud noise. It's something happening within like the cutter shroud, and all the guards are down and everything, and there's nothing broken. So I just finished the cut, stopped the machine, opened up the split fence, and then that was when I found that this fence was loose. There's a bit of a red-faced gentleman on the other side of the table. It's obviously he'd been looking. And I pull out two plastic fingers from behind where the cutter is. I was like, and that is why you have your feather boards in place and not your fingers. And I just thought afterwards, I really need a strong drink or something, 5 minutes on my own.
This happened to you while you were doing a presentation in front of other people?
Yeah, I mean, I was there with a company, a router company, and I was demonstrating the product. So, I mean, I was using basically my router table because it was one of their things and all the rest of it. And
Nice demo.
I felt really stupid because I kind of still feel like I should have just kind of slapped this guy away and said, stop fidgeting, because it so could have turned sour very quickly. But obviously, the moral of that story is use your feather boards, use your blocks and your push sticks and all the rest of it, because that could have been my finger. And if you've got anyone in your workshop with you, do not trust them, not for a second.
That's why the majority of us work alone. I think, and Billy, correct me, but I think that's Tim Sway's motto. He's like, no, I work alone.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, I was pretty cross, I must admit, after the event. But that could have been a real, you know, that could have been like Bill's story, but actually happened. You know, it could have really gone past.
Well, let's move on.
No idea.
Let's move on and find out who everybody's watching. Let's. I don't care. Who do you want to go to, Richard?
Well, you know, I haven't been watching anything. I've been far too busy. So, you know, let's start with you, Chris. You can see the screen a lot better than I can because I'm obviously on my phone. So,
okay, sure. I had a text from a good friend of ours, and I'm sure most of you are familiar with him, Aaron Day, from the YouTube channel Make Crazy Days. He's got something going on YouTube that I don't know that everybody's aware of. He's got, let me pull up my notes here because I want to make sure I get this right, Aaron, for you. He's got a Secret Santa thing going on for any or all YouTube woodworkers he just basically wants you to register, get involved, and they're going to do kind of a Secret Santa thing where we kind of make presents for each other. And so if you haven't seen Aaron's video yet, go check it out. He's got a Secret Santa thing that's going on, and you can register for it through November 14th. So if you haven't registered yet and you're interested in getting involved and maybe want to trade off presents with, you know, fellow woodworker who you won't know who it is until you get the present. So go ahead and check that out. The link is down in the description of the video. So check Aaron Day out if you have the opportunity because he's got a pretty cool thing he's trying to get done if you want to get some promotion of it. So there you go, Aaron. You got it.
Magic. And I think it's difficult to see from this tiny wee screen, but I think Andy's the next one on the list.
You know, I've been watching HABU Habu. This is Hassan Abu Ismero. He's a German guy that is doing some blacksmithing. And I mean, the guy is just hyper talented. Absolutely love his stuff. He just put out his first knife making video, which was just stunning. Absolutely stunning. And I love his work. So check out HABU Habu.
Cool. Make sure you you send us the links to those, and we can obviously add them into the show notes and make sure everyone can share those around. So yeah,
will do.
I'm not a knife guy. I'm not big into knives. I kind of never have been. They're a tool for me. I like the idea of making a knife, but what scares me about making knives is I'm absolutely diabolically bad at sharpening knives. Chisels, plain irons, not a problem, but a knife. No idea. It ends up. I might as well regrind it flat. Never works for me. So, how about you, Pat? What are you working on over in Montreal then?
Montreal then. I've been watching. I don't know if you know him, Steve Jones from Woodturner 21. This guy is a god with a huge chisel, man. It's like he cut in butter. So yeah, I'm still trying to refine my techniques with traditional tools. So I've been watching his videos, so I recommend it.
Soaking up. Do you use a flat skewer or an oval?
I think he used both, but the video I was watching yesterday was the oval one.
Yep. They scare me. Like a lot of things, I think new wood turners. I never reach for the skew because it scares me. If it's something that's going to catch, it's the skew.
Yeah.
So just start with like 36 grit sandpaper and work your way through. How about you, Jamie? What are you up to, mate?
What am I up to? I've done that scroll saw picture, but what am I watching? Well, that's something different. I'm not going to say his surname because I'll probably butcher it. But I'm watching Charlie from Jack Bench Woodworking, and he'd done the interview with the Andy Berkey sitting right there, and what an interview it was! Absolutely amazing. So I'd recommend everyone go and check that out. And the week before, Andy made a table with a hollow bottom, but he made it so it looked like a genuine bottom of a tree, and that thing is just incredible. Absolutely incredible. What a talented man. So that's not sorry,
I said it's not something I've seen.
Oh, it is absolutely unbelievable. His interview skills, his woodworking skills, just brilliant. Everything.
second that nomination. That is an amazing piece of furniture. Jack Bench Woodworking.
Yeah, I'm not going to say his surname because, like I say, I'll probably butcher it. But maybe Andy knows.
I can't do it either.
Could you check?
I believe it. No, I believe it's I believe it's Kasoric.
There it is. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, there you go. Always rely on Chris.
See, last week it was Alan saving Chris from butchering somebody's name. This week, it's Chris saving Jamie. Who's going to save Jamie next? Or Jamie, who are you going to save next week from butchering the names?
I've no idea.
It's like
you know what?
Mini channel pass.
You know what, Richard? If this is our stay tuned to find out what happens next week moment, then this is not going to go well. This is just not going to go well.
Sitting in the pitch black in the middle of nowhere, we can't go far worse than we already are. What have you been watching, Chris? Chris is muted, I think. Anyone?
Chris,
Go
on, I'll tell you what I've been watching then, I suppose. I've been watching Paul Wilmore over at Wilmore's World, and he's recently turned a sausage dog for Maker's Care, the charity that Steve Ramsey's been running to help the Make-A-Wish Foundation, and it turned out really nice. He turned the body, turned the head all on the lathe, and then used some of the bandsaw to cut out the legs and the ears. And it's just not like each individual piece is relatively simple, but then you put them all together and it's really effective in the end. So definitely recommend everyone go and check that out if you haven't seen it already. Wilmore's World.
Yeah, he comes up with some really cool things. I've seen in the past. He has some really, like you say, sort of individually simple things that come together and make a really cool piece. So,
Definitely.
Let's see if we can find out what Chris is. Chris, you're currently muted according to my. There we go. What are you watching at the moment, my friend?
No, I've already told you. I'm watching Aaron Day. He's doing the Secret Santa thing. So let me throw it over to Alan. Alan, who are you watching, buddy?
I am watching it for most who don't know. John Heiss has a third and smaller channel called I Build It Home. And I think about 3 days ago, he put up a video of him repairing a hot water heater. But what I really liked about the video was it was 40 minutes of John Heiss being the real John Heiss, the John Heiss that I got the opportunity to spend a day with, the guy that lives off camera. What I'm saying is he was swearing like a sailor for 40 minutes straight, and he still put up the video, and it's the real beer drinking John Heiss, the man John Heiss. If you want to meet John Heiss for real, go over to I Build It Home and watch that video. Excellent video.
Awesome.
I saw these. He did a screwdriver one, and he did the screw video. I think they were the last ones of his I saw.
Yeah, those are actually comedy videos as far as John's concerned. He just wants to see people's reactions to this is what a flathead screwdriver is. He just wants to see what people will say.
It's a good way to genuinely provoke people. And
yeah, that's John Heiss for you.
That gets a thumbs up from me every time.
Oh yeah, I love the man.
So I'm now completely lost. I've obviously messed up and asked Chris twice what he's watching.
Yeah, well, it's all good. I think we're on the Lutz now.
Yeah, we're on to Lutz.
Me?
Yeah, why not, Bill? Why not? I've lost.
All right, I'll just do some real quick shout outs let's keep it female oriented. Or how lucky are we to have the amazing women makers that are in our you guys mentioned last week Christiana Filgares, Get Hands Dirty. Her last video she made to take pictures with, I believe, but she made this simple way to roll and keep the rolls on her desk. Roll down black so you can take a picture, and roll down white, roll them back up. I've been following Christiana for a long time. Christiana, who turned me on to Laura Kampf, who we had on our podcast last week. And Laura Kampf, amazing maker. Oh my gosh, what do you say? Her last video, she built a bike cup holder by welding a cup holder in between the frame of the bike. Why? Oh my God. And then to keep the girl power thing going, Darbin Orver, Lynn, we love her. She's been on our podcast as well. Her last video, she made a hairpin leg table. And I mentioned to her that, hey, I'm kind of doing something like that too. She says, well, I'd like to see your take on it, Bill. I don't think she knows it's a glass-filled bowl of resin and stuff, but it's going to have hairpin legs, so it's going to be the same thing. And then the last thing, real quick, how I want to keep this whole theme about women, I want to talk about Tim Sway. Wait a minute. Stop laughing. Stop laughing. Tim Sway built an amazing manly basket. And if you watch the video, the reason he did that, it was a birthday present for his wife. Happy birthday, cool. Gwen.
And it was
happy birthday.
It was very, very cool.
Laughing at me. I don't get it. I don't want to laugh at me all the time. I try and be.
Hey,
the way you choose your words.
And Bill, if I can piggyback on your whole female thing, I want to say a big shout out to Sarah from Wartooth Designs. If you guys haven't followed her on Twitch, go ahead and follow her because Sarah is a killer. Yeah. I love that lady.
And she's an absolutely amazing artist as well.
Absolutely incredible.
I was going to say our community is way better now that Sarah's in it.
Absolutely.
Amen.
She done a potato pat lap as well. If you haven't seen that.
And of course, you know, hey, there's April Wilkerson and there's Size Corner. There's so many, but
amazing.
Just we are all lucky to get the type of people that are now in our community. So.
And I agree. And Richard, we got one person left. Let's go ahead and get to him, and then we can wrap this thing up. Rick, who you watching, buddy?
Well, I'll make this pretty quick. Gentlemen, I don't even know what country this guy's from. It's Payoson Woodworking, and this guy has literally made his entire shop scratch, start to finish, everything. He's a lot like Matthias Wandel, except his stuff, I think, is a little cleaner. Matthias tends to just build from scraps and whatever he's got. This guy goes out and I guess purchases his wood, but amazing stuff. He's got this 3D Panto router, drill press, mix kind of, it's crazy stuff. Check it out. I'll put a link in there for you guys so you can see it.
Brilliant. So just to be clear, so I don't screw this up even more, have we now heard from everyone?
We have.
Hey, fantastic. So now we can, what on earth is going on there, Pat? Well, Pat just did an extreme.
He's playing with his beard.
I'm just glad he took those glasses off before he started doing that.
Typically messing with the lens. So I think that's about time to wrap things up. Would you all agree? Is that?
I think we're good.
Fantastic. Well, I want to shout out and just say a big thank you to everyone who has commented across all our platforms on SoundCloud, Facebook, Twitter, iTunes, and everything. I apologize to those people that I'm shouting out to because I haven't had a chance to put the list together. But thank you so much for doing what you do because it does help us out a lot. I've been Rick Morley, or I've tried to be Rick Morley, in the middle of a car park somewhere in Worcestershire. You can find me at brainfizz.uk. Where can we find everyone else, Chris?
You can find me, Chris Cute, on YouTube. Make the First Cut on Facebook. Let's start with Andy Berkey. Andy, where can we find you, buddy?
You can find me easiest at blameberkey.com.
Awesome. Let's and Richard, I'll just go ahead and take over. Jamie, where can we find you?
You can find me on YouTube at JP Woodwork and Instagram and Twitter at JP_Woodwork.
And Pat, I apologize for you having to follow that, but go ahead and follow that. Pat, where can we find you?
You can find me at lepigbois.net. Everything is there.
Awesome. Joe, what about you, buddy?
Just Google Average Joe's Joinery and you should find everything to do with me. It's simple.
Yeah, awesome. Rick, where can we find you, buddy?
Basically, Wilkie Woodshop, right there in the corner. And on Facebook, you can give me a Rick Wilkie.
Cool. Bill, how about you?
Thanks to Justin Sparks, you can find me at williamlutz.com. Everything in the world about me.
Awesome. And Richard, let's wrap this up with you. Where can we find you, Richard?
Me, you can find me at brainfizz.uk. So thanks to everyone for being on the show. Thanks for everyone for listening. Thanks for listening again for next time. We'll see you again next time. Cheerio.
Have a good week, everybody. Have a good one.
See you, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
Ciao.
Have a week.